Hi guys, I'm so sorry for abandoning you at such short notice and particularly at a time when there was so much happening. But it was not planned nor intentional. I spent a couple of hours in hospital and it took me a few days to stabilize enough so I can string a few sentences together. But here I am. I'm on the mend and I shall be taking things a bit easier over the next few weeks as I'm convinced that my issues are mainly caused by stress. But we're not here to talk about my issues, but the royal issues. So, anyway, I've not been on here since the appeals court upheld Meghan's summary judgment, and I would guess that it would be the elephant in the room for you all, and that you would perhaps or maybe want to hear my opinion on it. Well, my dear friends, I'm sure most of you had listened to Murky Meg and Lady C discussing the matter, and I do not have much more to add. I agree with Lady C that this had turned into a very important case because it speaks to so much. It speaks to the issue of privacy or the reasonable expectation of privacy. It speaks to copyright issues. It speaks to the issue of freedom of the press. It speaks to honesty and lying, and in particular, lying to a court of law. It speaks to the right of anyone to defend themselves, and it speaks to judges interpreting an ill defined law and their subsequent abuse, and I'm saying abuse in inverted commas, of these laws in order to give themselves the easy way out. So let's quickly run through those because I actually have other things I really need to talk to you guys about, and I am a little behind. Okay, so did Meghan have a reasonable expectation of privacy with regards to that letter to her father? Well, according to testimony, no. According to testimony, affidavits, etc., Meghan admitted to Jason Knopf that the letter will likely be seen and read by the public sooner or later. She also purposefully used the word daddy to gain sympathy from the public, as were her exact words to Jason Knopf. The elaborate handwriting also speaks to the fact that this was indeed the case. Then, against her expectations, her father did not speak about or release the letter, and therefore she most likely phoned up a few friends and cried on their shoulders, manipulating them into speaking to People magazine, who she most likely contacted herself or got someone else, like the PR she kept in the United States, to set it all in motion. Okay? So, although People magazine did not print the letter or a portion thereof, the letter was discussed and the spin was in Meghan's favour and rather embarrassing for her father. So he approached the Mail on Sunday, told his side of the story, and they published half of the letter. Now, did Meghan have a reasonable expectation of privacy? No, because she expected the letter to be made public. She did not expect half or a quarter to be made public. No, she expected the letter to be made public, regardless of how much of the letter she expected to be made public. I don't think she even thought that far. So let's quickly talk about copyright issues. Unfortunately, the laws in the United States and the United Kingdom differ because Meghan was in the United Kingdom at the time and her father in the United States. This is a difficult one because even if I write something for public consumption, like a poem or a book or an article, I still hold the copyright over the work. Yes, someone may quote from it and give the author credit when doing so. And that is what People magazine did. The letter was discussed and I would guess quoted from, but they did not publish the actual letter. Also, When using someone else's words, even if you quote them, it should not make up more than 15 to 20% of your overall body of work, as otherwise it would be deemed not to be your work. So, in a way, the judges were correct by saying that had the mail printed less of the letter, there would have been no issue with regards to copyright. But I feel that in this case, the judges were grabbing at straws and desperately unearthed this rule to support their judgment, as this case was about more than just publishing a few lines more than you should of a silly, contrite letter full of word salad and with no basis, isn't it? Anyway, so freedom of the press. Where does it start and where does it end? Should the press be allowed to intrude in your private life? Surely not. But what if your private life is conducted in such a way that it hurts or harms others? What if you are the one responsible for making your private life public? This has happened many times where the press intrudes in someone's private life and got away with it because what these people did behind closed doors affected their public standing, their position, and or their responsibilities. Just think about Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky. And Meghan Markle and Thomas Markle are not any different. The scenarios may be different, but the principle is the same. Meghan knew that by marrying Harry, she would have the power and money or access to it like she never had before. And instead of using it for the greater good, she used it to be evil and nasty and to rid herself of what she thought was dead wood. And that, unfortunately, included her father. So, did the Mail on Sunday have the right to disclose the contents of the letter through an interview with Thomas Markle? Absolutely yes. Meghan was a celebrity of sorts before her marriage and an even more prominent public figure afterwards. And they had every right to discuss or expose her, and her father had every right to defend himself. So, what about this lying to the court? Well, my dear friends, I think if you go back to January, you will find a video in which I read you the defense's affidavit. Now, in there, you will notice that then already they referred to Meghan having to change her affidavit because a fact or two was not actually factual. They also referred to not receiving evidence as requested, and what I would refer to as lying by omission, in my humble opinion. And now she finally had to admit to cooperating with Finding Freedom and apologize to the court for her memory lapse. Well, we all know that is utter BS. Hordes of emails and text between her and Jason Lauf, and a book launched with very loud fanfare. And she forgot? No one, not even me, is that forgetful, unless you have extreme dementia or Alzheimer's. No. Meghan lied. And not just once, but a few times. Now, I've said this before. Meghan was the plaintiff, Mail on Sunday, or ANL, the defendant. Therefore, if the plaintiff or the complainant, if you want to use that word, is found to be lying, then first and foremost, there is no case. And it's simple to explain, and Paula M. did it very well and very simple. And I'll repeat what she said. If I accuse you of stealing my purse and you get arrested and eventually go to court for the theft of that particular purse, and while in court it is found that I never owned such a purse to begin with, charges against you will be dismissed forthwith, even before the court will deal with me, the liar. However, it is then very likely that the liar will be charged with perjury and wasting the court's time, and that the lying plaintiff will get a huge fine and/or jail time. So why did Meghan not get into trouble? Why wasn't this case thrown out right in the beginning? Or if not, then why wasn't she charged with perjury? Well, there are two trains of thought. The first one is because Meghan Markle had pulled out the race card whenever it was convenient for her to do so, and a large portion of her sugars or fans are poor, misguided women of colour who are supporting Meghan on principle, namely because she has a black mother. So God forbid those people should be offended in this woke world. The other train of thought is that if this had gone to trial, not only would Jason Nuff have had to testify, but there was a distinct possibility that someone like Samantha Cohen or even Prince William might have been called to testify. And this would have been very, very embarrassing for the royal family. Can you imagine the picture it would have painted? One member of the royal family testifying against another. No. That could not have been risked. So personally, I think it was both these things which influenced the judge's decision, more so than the actual merits of the case. Well, guys, many of you have asked me whether I thought the Mail on Sunday would or should approach the Supreme Court. Well, I truly do not know. I see that there had been a hectic debate in Parliament about the precedent set in this case, and although I really do not have much of an opinion on British politicians and government, I would say that if a new law could be passed before the matter goes to the Supreme Court, then perhaps it would be worth ANL's money and effort. But then again, I'm not sure whether the case would in any event be heard on existing laws at the time of the reporting of the case. Anyway, I would suggest other more strategic ways for the Mail on Sunday or ANL to wreak revenge on the Duchess of Montelaio. But it is not just about revenge, is it? It is about freedom of the press. It is about freedom of speech. It is about freedom of expression. And in that instance, I would say that ANL or Mail on Sunday should fight this as far as they can take it. I was informed by Paula M. that there is another petition going. And guys, yes, there had been many petitions. But even if this one only shows ANL or Mail on Sunday that we are supporting them in this quest, then we have achieved something. They also intend publishing it if it reaches 10,000 signatures, in which case Meghan Markle will also finally know that we've had it with her lying and getting away with it. So please, guys, click on the link in my description box and go vote. So, my dear friends, I still wish to speak to you about that BBC documentary, its presenter, and some very interesting links I found. I also wish to speak to you about Harry and his father, and I wish to speak to you about Archie and Lily once again. But I'm going to keep my videos a little shorter and likely with less pictures to make editing a little faster for the next few weeks. So if all goes well and I wake up healthy tomorrow, I shall be back discussing all those things. So please, guys, take good care of yourselves, and until we meet again on the next video, bye!